Hi, this is Congressman Tom Cole, another one of our weekly congressional chats. This has been sort of a scattershot week in Washington, D.C. Lots of things happening, not all of them connected with one another. On the just sort of normal business things, we have a lot of Appropriations Committee hearings going on right now. This is the very beginning phase of putting together bills that we will consider later in this session and hopefully make sure the government is funded. So that's normal. One of the things I participated in this week was what's called Tribal Witness Day on the Interior Subcommittee of Appropes, and it's just literally tribes coming in from all across the country talking about their concerns, their needs, funding issues, the like. I always enjoy that. It reminds me of just the sheer diversity and complexity of so-called Indian country all across the country. In Oklahoma, we don't know a lot about the salmon industry. It's a pretty big deal in a lot of the rest of America, certainly in the northwestern states amongst Indian tribes. So, again, you just learn a lot of things, and that's good. We sadly are also grinding through another week where the Department of Homeland Security is shut down. We've been pressuring the Democrats on this. This literally is an issue where the House has twice passed full funding for Homeland Security. Senate Democrats are holding it up, not because we don't have a majority, we do. We have in the low 50s someplace, because we do have a Democratic supporter in John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, but most Democrats are just demanding things that I think are incredibly unreasonable. The president has tried to accommodate. He obviously changed personnel running the operation in Minnesota. That's ended now, regardless. And there's a new Secretary of Homeland Security under consideration, our own Markwayne Mullin. So there's been a change at the top in that organization. Sooner or later, I would hope Democrats just take yes for an answer. There have been a lot of the changes made. So the idea of keeping people to work without paying them, 230,000 Americans roughly in Homeland Security, 95% of whom were deemed essential, everything from the Coast Guard to the Secret Service to FEMA to what's called CISA, which is our cyber control and cyber defense agency. There's just BioShield, which protects us from toxins and from terrorist acts where literally things are released into the atmosphere. A number of things are either suspended or running at half speed is alarming, particularly considering how dangerous the world is right now. Not to mention, it's just unfair to people not to pay them when they're doing the work. And they've got mortgages, they've got car payments, they've got families, and it's putting an unacceptable strain on them, and for no good reason, in my opinion. So I hope this comes to an end, but again, the House has done its part. Senate Republicans are certainly doing their part. This is simply Senate Democrats using a Senate rule, the so-called filibuster, where you have to get to 60 and trying to blackmail everybody else, from the president right on down, and it's unacceptable and damaging to the country, and I hope that they sober up and put that aside. I will say I was able to watch part of the hearings today for Senator Markwayne Mullin. I thought he did an excellent job under interrogation, sometimes friendly, sometimes not. That's just the way Senate hearings go. But I think if you listen to the hearing, you understand why the president picked him. He's, instinctively a fighter. He's a defensive guy. He's a person that loves his country. He's a self-made man. He's very, very capable. He's accomplished a lot in his career, and there's a lot to be proud of. And he has an exceptionally close relationship with the President of the United States, which I think is important in a cabinet secretary. And he's coming in with the kind of management skills and attitude that I think it will be needed to get that agency up and operating again. So again, I hope he gets confirmed. I think he will be. As I said repeatedly, Oklahoma's loss is America's gain, because we are losing a lot. I think losing him in the Senate, but looks like a field is shaping up. We'll have plenty of good candidates. One of my friends Kevin Hearn from Tulsa is in that race. I'm sure there'll be others. And I'm sure once Senator Mullen is confirmed, and I think he will be, we'll get a very capable short-term replacement from Governor Stitt. That's his decision to make. I think it's then confirmed by the Oklahoma State Senate. I'm sure he will put forward an excellent nominee, and that person will hold that spot down. And then people of Oklahoma will decide who the next senator from Oklahoma needs to be come November. But I think you're going to get good choices, and certainly I know Kevin Hearn is a good choice. I'm sure there'll be others that are worth your time and consideration as well. With that, we'll just keep working things through up here. I will end with this. Obviously, our country's engaged in conflict overseas in Iran right now. That's a very serious exercise. It's been very successful to date, but war is an uncertain and calculable, exercise. We have had tragedies. We've had a number of Americans killed. We lost a KC-135 recently, not to enemy fire, but in an accident that's being investigated now over the skies of actually western Iraq. It's a plane. KC-135 is a jet refueler. All KC-135s are repaired and overhauled at Tinker Air Force Base when they're going in for their every 3 or 4 year makeover, so to speak. So we always feel close when we lose somebody. Most of the crew, I understand, was from Ohio, but one of them had actually gotten their master's degree from Oklahoma State University recently. So it may well have been somebody that spent some time at Tinker. I don't know. But regardless, just to keep these men and women who are out on the front lines defending us and protecting us in your prayers, in your thoughts. The sacrifices they make for our country are never to be taken for granted. And in this case, this is a brutal and vicious regime. It's one that's killed hundreds of thousands of people. It's the leading sponsor of state terrorism. And it's a country that was, developing nuclear weapons with the intent of using them. So I think the president made a difficult call, but the right call. And hopefully we can get through this with no more loss of life or minimal loss of life. And hopefully we'll defang and dismantle certainly the military of this regime for several years ahead of us. But regardless, and even if you have a different point of view, I think everybody can pray for the safety of our troops and their safe return and the quick end of the war. We certainly hope that this military exercise or conflict, whatever name you want to use, is over quickly and successfully. So with that, I hope things are well with you and your family. Good luck, God bless, and we'll be back visiting with you next week.